there, gorgeous human. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jyoti, your spiritual bestie, your spiritual guide. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about this mistake that I see everybody makes, and I also, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to, completely, we need to stop doing this, okay? Before I talk about it, I would request you to subscribe to my channel and also recommend me to your friends and everybody. And you know what, I've realized that I do a lot because I'm still practicing talking. It's just okay, we all, we are all full of imperfection, and I hope this gives you confidence to show up even with your imperfections, even when you are not fully ready and all of that. Anyway, let's get into this mistake that we all make in life, in career, in relationships, everywhere, which is we just make it mean that because we have this certain thing, we are not meant for it. What do I mean by that? For example, in a relationship, we may discover that we have this pattern of manipulating people in a certain way. Now, suddenly we can make it mean, oh my god, if I have this pattern, then I definitely don't deserve relationships, and that definitely hide from the world and all of that. But you gotta understand in that moment that that pattern did not start with you. It did not come from you. That was running in your lineage in the world even before you were existing. Now when you observe that pattern, it is not the full picture of who you are. That is not the certificate or your authentic truth or your authentic personality. That was just either you picked it up because you were in a survival mode. It was picked up by the environment or the people that you were around. You picked that pattern from that kind of environment. So when these patterns come up, we just immediately abandon ourselves from that thing. We are like, okay, because we have that pattern, I don't deserve it. But in those moments, you gotta just see, okay, I have this pattern, I can work on it, and definitely I'm ready to work on it. I'm going to, learn a better way, find a new way of being, find a new way of thinking, find a new way of relating to other people, find a new way of having relationships. In my personal life, I was like, you know what, I had this pattern. If you know my story, that I grew up in a very chaotic, dysfunctional, violent home. I was abused physically, verbally, emotionally, sexually on a day-to-day basis, and abuse plus humiliation. There was a lot of humiliation every single day. And it wasn't one thing. It is okay, you're going to school and someone is bullying you and you're coming back to your safe home. That's another thing. But when you're living with the bullies all the time, then they are humiliating you, sexually abusing you, being violent with you, which is our family. And I wasn't with my parents, which is a trauma. I was with my uncle, auntie and cousin. My parents were in village and they were living in survival in there. I share this story just so that you can relate. And I'm building a good relationship with them. But because of that, I used to, whenever I would go to school, what I would do is I will just give children money that I would steal from my aunt's wallet, and I will give them only so that they can talk to me, only so that they can have my friend. So that was a manipulation. But then that pattern was long existing in my family lineage, because there was so much low self-esteem and low self-confidence, because people are constantly belittling each other in my family lineage. So that was there. So I realized that, and then I used to think, you know what, I am definitely not worthy of friendships and relationships because I have this pattern. And even when I was starting my business, I was like, you know what, oh my god, I am making when I realized, oh my god, I'm depending on people to get me money, on clients to get me money, or then I realized that that way, if I'm making people the source of my security and safety, that's not fair, because then I'm not able to actually serve them, actually be honest and serve them. I can only serve in a very be of service when I am not depending on anything from them. So I was like, okay, I need to change. But first, when I recognized that pattern inside of me, I was like, oh my god, I'm definitely not meant to do business. I'm definitely not meant to do business because I am thinking so. I have such a cunning way. Like I just felt some icky energy, you know. Then I met my mentor, and I was listening to her story, how she mentioned all of her imperfections, and I was like, hey, I was doing same things, and because of that I thought that, you know what, I'm not worthy of, doing my business, I'm not worthy of having friendships and all of that. But that just completely broke my this belief that just because we have certain pattern, we should not make it mean that, you know what, I'm wrong, it's my fault, or I'm not worthy of it. We are going to make mistakes. We are, because we live in a dysfunctional world, and from this dysfunctional world we have learned lot of dysfunctional things about people, about relationships, about food, about sex, about money, about careers, about who we should be and who we should not be. These are all dysfunctional things that I have learned. They are running in our cells, in our DNA. All right. So as we go out into the world and do our things, be in relationships, show up in our careers, start our businesses, these things are going to present itself. And when we see them, we are acknowledging them. We can choose a new way in that moment. In that moment when that thing is presenting to us, some dysfunctional pattern is presenting to us, that is not our opportunity to abandon ourselves or cut ourselves from the good, cut ourselves from the fulfilling relationships, cut ourselves from the from our dream career or dream business. That is not the opportunity to cut ourselves from that. It is an opportunity to learn a better way. That is all. Okay. And when we make mistakes, especially in relationships, we have this pattern. We just completely either we believe like, okay, you know what, I'm definitely not meant for relationships, I'm definitely, there's something wrong with me, nobody should be friends with me, and all of that. Or we believe that, you know what, the other person is so bad, so we're not being friends with them. If there is incompatibility, we can definitely part our ways, but that parting way will also be very on a good note, on a very loving note, because both parties understand, that we are incompatible. So there is no need for that harshness and that negativity. And so whenever there's a beauty in repair, I learned from another beautiful mentor, and I needed to really learn it, because I was that person who would just abandon myself, cut myself, or cut the other person out. There's beauty in repair, and repair only happens when there is some glitch, some mistake, some pattern shows up. And that is how we built it, even in business, even in career, and same goes in relationships, in everything. When we start something and we see, okay, this strategy is not working, we gotta find a new way. Same goes in relationships. We feel like, you know what, this pattern, this way of thinking, this way of communicating, this way of relating, this way of resolving the conflict is not working, so we have to find a new way. It does not mean that we should start believing that we are not made for relationships, or we are not worthy of relationships, or there is something wrong with us. So the mistake that I was talking about is this belief that we start to make, like, you know what, we are not meant for it, we are not worthy of it, or there is something wrong with us just because we have all these patterns and all these behaviors. I just want you to I wanted to inspire and instill compassion in you for yourself. I wanted to instill, my intention was to instill this new mindset that you choose to learn a better way, instead of believing that you you're not worthy of it, okay? Because I have made that mistake. I have chosen to believe, you know what, I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy of friendships. I'm not worthy of relationships. I'm not worthy of having my own business. I'm not worthy of I'm not worthy. What else I felt like I'm not worthy of? I'm not worthy of love, because I had some patterns, you know, which was a result of dysfunction of my childhood. If you live for 18, 20, 22, 23 years around people who are constantly belittling you, you become like such a, you learn those abusive patterns, you know, to keep yourself protected. And then I just want you to have some grace for yourself. That was my intention for this video, and I love you. I'm here for you. I have wonderful paintings like this on my website for you. High frequency, fairy frequency paintings. I'm working on this. This is like God's peace, God's ease, God's effortlessness flows in my career, my mindset, my life, my relationships, my money. I'm going to write a beautiful affirmation here, if you can see. But I have another paintings, check them out, very wonderful. You can also book a one-on-one session with me. I love you. I am here for you. Let me know in the comments below how this video helped you. Share it with your friends, with your families. Recommend me to everybody who you know, because I bring such a good energy. I love you. I'll see you in another video. Comment also if there is anything, any other thing that is you know, bringing confusion in your life. Definitely I'll make a video on it, and that will help you and help other people also, because it is never you who is going through that thing. When you share it with me and I make a video on it, it helps multiple people. So you being vulnerable, you being brave and sharing your sharing the certain thing with me, also helping so many other people. Okay, I love you.